day, ladies and gentlemen. I just want to make sure there are ladies and gentlemen, especially men in the call, because this topic seems to be addressed to women in particular, but I want to believe we have men with us. The proof is that one of our panelists is there, is a man. So welcome to you all. I am Ariel Aye. I'm working with the Denis Alenora Floretia Foundation at the Communications Department. The theme of this very webinar is a very interesting one for women in particular, as I said, because it reflects their daily lives, what they go through every day. And as a woman, I can testify that it's not easy at all. But the good thing is that we have palliative measures to relieve the dual burden of women, and that's why we are here. This webinar is going to be a panel discussion, and we have experts among us. And of course, it's going to be moderated by Dr. Vera Kuhn. Dr. Vera Kuhn is a research fellow at the Carrefour Policy Institute, particularly working at the Economic Affairs Division. And then I'm going to hand over the floor to her so that she will be the one to coordinate this moment. Dr. Vera, you have the floor.
All right, thank you so much, Ariel. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. And it's a pleasure to have us all to share our insights, our know-how, and our expertise on this theme on addressing the challenges of women's career and care work in sub-Saharan Africa. So amongst us this afternoon, we have wonderful panelists who are ready to share with us their own experiences, as well as drawing from other examples from their own home countries. We have representative from Cote d'Ivoire and Nigeria, which I'm particularly grateful because that alone is going to give us the diversity as to the different challenges that women in sub-Saharan Africa actually go through in trying to carry out their job, both in the formal sector as well as in the informal sector. So with us this afternoon, I'm going to start by introducing the lone gentleman on our panel, who is none other than Alain Philippe Binet Bibok, who is a trust leader and a representative of the Global Network of Civil Society Organization for Disaster Protection in Cameroon, and also a team leader of the World Organization for Early Childhood Education. So Alain Philippe has also served as a consultant with the World Bank on entrepreneurship of women, on education, and with numerous non-governmental organizations, educational institutions, and companies. So all of this has helped Alain Philippe to be able to stand at the forefront of main issues concerning women's education and labor, as well as entrepreneurship and emancipation for the African woman. So this has helped him to partake in a constructive society where women are not only regarded as bridges, but also as change makers. So Alain Philippe, we are happy at Capital Policy Institute this afternoon to have you as one of our panelists. So thank you and welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'll continue to introduce to us Dr. Ewere, all the way from Benin City, Nigeria, who is a lecturer and researcher at the Benson Idahosa University in Benin City, Nigeria. So over 1.5 decades, she is a fervent lecturer and researcher who has authored and co-authored several articles in both local, national, as well as international journals. So Dr. Ewere has contributed immensely to community service, not only within the teaching milieu, but also within her own immediate environment. So when Dr. Ewere is not busy with research, she's not busy with lectures, she is busy taking care of her household and is blessed with a wonderful husband and beautiful children. So good afternoon and welcome.
Thank you for having me, Dr. Vera.
Thank you. So I'll continue all the way to Cote d'Ivoire. to welcome Dr. Ghislain Odrego Amechi, who is so passionate about issues related to health system strengthening. She is a social scientist with over 15 years of experience in social science research, strategic planning, partnership building, and programs management. So she's been involved in several projects spanning from malaria control to carrying out qualitative research on different projects. So Dr. Odrego equally leads on the partnership building, is equally working with the partnership building as a specialist for Global Business Coalition for Health. As at now, she is part of the Scientific Advisory Board for Wellcome Trust Gene Driver Project at the IRSS. She's equally a co-founding member, Women in Global Health in Côte d'Ivoire. She is a fellow for the Emerging Voices for Global Health in the year 2000, and also a co-founding member for the Pan-African Women in Health. She holds a master's in public policy from the University of Minnesota, USA. Good afternoon and welcome to the CAFO Policy Institute, Dr. Odrego. And last but not the least is our own Dr. Kinga Betsila Mayin, who holds a double PhD in health economics and development. She is a human development economist with over 15 years of experience, a fervent researcher who is so passionate about issues related to the healthcare system, health system strengthening, social protection, education, and workforce development. She currently serves as a consultant with the World Bank, leading several initiatives on early child care education and nutrition under the THIMO program. Dr. Mayen is equally a part-time lecturer at the University of Bamenda. She is the chair of the Health Economics Association of Cameroon, and also the founder of the Dynamic Association for Women's Empowerment. So Dr. Kinga, you're welcome, and we're glad to have you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So ladies and gentlemen, we're going to kickstart our discussion this afternoon by finding from our wonderful panelists, starting with the man in the house, to tell us his experience on how the on the dual burden that the Cameroonian woman faces in taking care of their home and also juggling to work as a career woman. We all know that women are the primary caregivers in households. Women work 4.15 hours housework as opposed to men who only sacrifice or dedicate 1.25 hours in terms of household chores. So we are saying that in as much as we encourage these women to be career women in society, we want to find out from Alain Philippe, what is the situation like in Cameroon? How does the Cameroonian woman juggle between being a career woman and also taking care of their household? Thank you.
Merci de me passer la parole. Ce sujet est un sujet qui revêt une véritable acuité dans la mesure où la population camerounaise est en majorité constituée de femmes. Et les enjeux qui se trouvent derrière ce débat sont de nature d'avoir des conséquences graves quand c'est négatif sur notre économie et notre développement. Les femmes au Cameroun, face à ce fardeau, sont dans une situation très complexe. Très complexe dans la mesure où c'est très difficile. Elles doivent affronter les stéréotypes qui veulent les cantonner à être des femmes reléguées dans les ménages au détriment des femmes qui travaillent. Et pour cause. On note qu'il y a plus de femmes qui travaillent dans les travaux domestiques non rémunérés que les femmes qui travaillent dans les travaux rémunérés. Et cette situation causée par ces stéréotypes impacte sur le bien-être de ces femmes. Ainsi, nous avons plus de femmes qui font les travaux domestiques, plus de femmes qui font les petits métiers et moins de femmes qui font des travaux rémunérés. Ces travaux rémunérés, même à ce niveau, on note que sur le temps qu'elles allouent à ce travail est 2 fois inférieur à celui des hommes, car elles allouent 2,7 heures de temps dans les travaux rémunérés au détriment des hommes qui, eux, allouent 4,2. Et en plus, les femmes sont moins payées et elles ne sont pas, pour la plupart, assurées. Et de l'autre côté, elles se retrouvent ainsi, lorsqu'elles sont enceintes, mises à la porte des sociétés ou des entreprises. C'est un peu ces défis-là que rencontrent les femmes dans cet environnement-là. Un environnement assez difficile pour elles, qui les met à l'écart des responsabilités au niveau des responsabilités électives, tant qu'au niveau des responsabilités nominatives, parce qu'il y a peu de femmes préfets, il y a peu de femmes ministres, il n'y a même pas de femmes vice-ministres, il n'y a que les hommes. Donc, c'est un véritable défi dans une population en majorité constituée de femmes pour le Cameroun. Et c'est pour l'essentiel ce que je peux dire pour le moment.
Merci beaucoup, Mr. Alain Philippe. So I'll come now to Dr. Ewere to give us a picture about the Nigerian situation. Now, how does the Nigerian woman, Dr. Ewere, manage to deal with issues of this dual burden, working as a career woman and working in the informal sector, taking care of their homes, taking care of the children, and still be able to remain productive and earn some money for themselves? Dr. Ewere, please.
Thank you very much, Dr. Vera. Speaking as a Nigerian woman who is also a career woman, I will say that an average Nigerian woman, it's highly burdened, dual burdened, and looking at the huge discrepancy, gender discrepancy between women and men when it comes to issue of caregiving or the unpaid job. Nigerian women are seen to be highly involved in these two unparalleled activities. And most times, the strain is so high that growing in their career happens to be very slow compared to their male counterparts. I will speak from my own experience as a lecturer in the university who started as a graduate assistant over 1.5 decades ago. No doubt I was able to move from graduate assistant to the very level that I am right now as a senior lecturer, of course, being processed as an associate professor. It was not without strain, because all the times I will have to leave the career, have the break in career that I had to have my kids, I will have to buckle up to ensure that I meet up with the requirements for the next promotion. So most Nigerian women are embattled with this same issue of trying to, survive the workplace tax and the unpaid job of caregiving for their children, elderly, their homes, and all of that. So an average Nigerian as a woman is faced with this, and this has, to a very large extent, brought about the huge percentage of Nigerians, female Nigerians, who are out of labor, the labor force, because of the issue of caregiving responsibility. So, but nevertheless, most Nigerian women try to collaborate. Yes, talking from experience, we collaborate with our male counterparts. We collaborate with our fellow women to see how we remain in the career and, grow to where we are. So I did a lot of collaborations with my fellow women, male lecturers, and over the years, I've been able to publish and meet up with my normal requirements for promotion, at the same time, put up good papers for publications and all of that. But this has not been without strain. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much. And that is coming firsthand from someone who is on the field and trying to juggle the two and still remain very useful to both sectors. Now I'll come to Dr. Mayin, who is a mother of 5 beautiful children. And I've watched her juggle between taking care of her home, grow from one level of her career to another, and is still standing strong. So I want to find out from you, Dr. Mayin, you had your kids while you were in school and while you started work, and even right when you started your doctoral program, you were still babysitting some of your kids. So how has this impacted you as a woman and your career? Thank you.
Thank you very much for giving me the floor. I just want to create in with the others to say that it's not been easy, not for me, and I don't think for any woman, especially the women in Cameroon. I just want to go back to the statistics briefly. The 4.12 for 1.5 for women and 1.25 for men. This is a 2.9 hours gap between men and women, and it's about 35% of full-time employment. That means that if the woman has put in a full-time employment, is already putting in an extra 35% of full-time employment at home. However, as society don't think that if you are a woman, you're already working, you should be lacking anywhere, somewhere around house chores and having kids. So you have to juggle all this. I want to really say that at the end of the day, it's not easy. I used to tell, sometimes I joke that if you see a woman with a master's, it's a woman with a PhD. Because if you really have to put in the extra hours at home, the hours in pregnancy, and at the end, sometimes you don't even recognize yourself. And there's always there's always trying to drop something. I think last year I was in a really full-time employment, and at a certain time I noticed that I was not handling it well. The family was suffering, and I quit full-time. Then I took part-time. If you hear me, part-time lecturing, part-time consultancy at the World Bank. But this, I had grown my career to full-time. But then I looked back and said, no, these kids are still a bit young for this really full engagement. And sometimes there's a lot of sacrifice in terms of career, where you should be, where your male counterparts are. And sometimes we just have to manage the two. I think what I always tell myself is I want to build I want to try to balance also. I could do part-time parenting, part-time, full-time. But for the women which I've seen doing part-time, full-time in organizations, particularly in the NGO world, I remember some telling me that mes enfants que je te parle toute leur vie. So sometimes I look at them and I start asking myself, is this what I want? And I think last time I had to retreat a bit and then say, okay, let me give myself 1 or 2 years and then I step back to full-time, but it's a lot of sacrifice on our part. It's really a lot of sacrifice. So sometimes we just have to be able to get all the support we need from fellow women, all the support we need from, what about having the right support around us? Because I always say there's no superwoman. The idea of superwoman doesn't exist. We have to accept that I'm unable to do full-time house, full-time home. So accepting help from, if you have a nanny, accepting help from some other person, because I've heard some women say, no, I can't handle nannies. I can't handle house help. I want to do everything on my own. Then we have to really, if you come to that point where you want to do everything on your own, I think your career or your health will finally suffer so much. So for me, I just said the situation is real, but every woman should accept help as much as they can. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I will stay with you to find out from you. In the midst of wanting to juggle between your career, your house, and all of this and striking a balance, during pregnancy, you had all the time to pull through, have your maternity leave, and enjoy those 3 beautiful months of rest and cuddle with the baby. Has it been easy? Was it easy for you to just quickly say, oh, maternity leave is over, let me get to my job? How did you manage to live from being that nursing mother, working, and then getting back and still standing strong?
Thank you. I want to say sometimes we say maternity leave is never truly over up to the child turns 5. Because at every point of it, there is always a closer attention. Even when the child turns 1, you want to be sure also that they are feeding well. And these are things that as a mother, even if you have the help, you want to be sure you have a close supervision on this thing. So it wasn't easy. I remember I used to, in my PhD classes, I took my baby to CAS, to the university. I used to have my younger sister who was in the university. She had a room in Bambili. So I take the baby, I give her the baby, then I come to class. Then suddenly I just say, 1 minute. I rush back to her room. So the whole academic year, I used to go to Bambili with the child. I leave her to my younger sister, and then I'm in class, I'm in between. So it's never truly over maternity leave, not even when the children are 1, 2, 3. A friend jokingly said, oh, since I delivered this child 3 years ago, this child is still requiring just a lot of attention. So it's not truly over. And I think that's why we have a program we are currently working with the TIMO, which you said, which is particularly promoting childcare in the workplaces and the community-based childcare, where I can always carry my child to, even if the child is 5, every time I come to work, I bring along my child. And I put the child in every big structure has a daycare, and then I can juggle in between the line. You've seen cases where women will bring back the children from school and put them in the offices, and you notice that neither them nor their colleagues are able to concentrate again. The children are touching things here and there. And so that's why the TIMO program with the World Bank, which we are currently developing pilot community daycare centers, hope to have a situation where every serious workplace, every organization has a side room and a carer, where the women who feel they don't want to end maternity leave at 3 months can always carry their kids along, as I used to do in Bambly while I was working, and then I was also schooling there. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Kinga. I would like to find out from Dr. Iwere, has it been easy with you leaving your 3-month-old at home to resume work after a maternity leave?
Honestly, it was never easy for me to leave my 3-month-old child to return back to work after maternity leave. Not for the first, nor the second, nor the last. It was not easy. Most times when it's almost 3 months, you want an extension. Naturally, you will just want an extension. You're looking for, you're wishing as if, if anything can happen, any policy can just be, enacted that can, increase this leave. And for me, it was not easy, and I don't think it will be easy, or it was easy for any mother, or it will be easy for any woman. And so that's actually, I looked up in a research that was done and published in Taylor and Francis this year, 2025, titled Returning to Work After Maternity Leave, a longitudinal study. About 271 women were interviewed. They were interviewed from the second week before returning to work after maternity leave and 6th week after returning to work. And report shows that had the highest level of paternal work stress, work return stress was very high for those ones at the initial stage of returning to work. And so most times the reason why we find it very difficult to switch back to work mode after maternity leave, it's always because of that, postpartum work return stress, having to balance you taking care, nursing a child that is barely 3 months old and, facing the tasks at work. Most times it's not always easy, and I don't think it was anything funny for me, or it will be for any woman. So that's it. It was not funny. Going back was not always, I never looked forward to returning, but I had to return anyways.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you for joining us, Dr. Odrego Gislain. So before you joined us, we were actually looking at how women juggle between unpaid household care work and their formal employment. So I'd just like to find out from you how the Ivorian woman is able to manage their time between household chores, caregiving for their household, for the elderly, and equally managing a career and still stay productive and out of poverty. Thank you.
Thank you for having me on this panel. I was actually here at the very beginning as you were making your introduction, but I lost the connections. I'm back now. I heard my colleagues, and from the Côte d'Ivoire point of view, the government has been making some serious effort to improve the work balance environment and women's health. The maternity leave is no longer 3 months now for government workers, it's 6 months. And they have now added, yes, they have now added paternity leave for 30 days, in addition to the already existing free maternal care for childbirth, right? So passing the policy and implementing the policy, as we know, are two different things. But at least the intent is there, and the recognition for this need is there, and they're making serious strides to make this happen on the ground. So this comes in the background, of course, of the reality that this imbalance is cultured. It's part of the way we are raised. Men is to provide, and women are raised to care. In a society where we know that our societies are extremely young. Many children graduate from high school and face unemployment. Many university goers graduate and face unemployment. But we also have economies that haven't fully realized their industrial revolution, right? So what are we waiting for in terms of utilizing these qualified youth, to put them into areas where we can mechanize our housework? In the global West, it was the World War I and II, that jump-started canned foods, microwaves, automated sweeps, and things like that. So when are we going to start making or using our technology students at the university and other types of university departments to start making things that will help expedite the housework and degender the housework? so that any man can pick up that tool to sweep and clean the floor, or to make chapati or fufu, so that we can move on and respond to the economic growth that's waiting for us. So it goes beyond health for me. It goes beyond the health system. It's society as a whole that needs to be reorganized and to really make strides and amplify the investments that are already being made in the youth, in education, in health, and all of that, so that we can address these needs that society is facing.
All right, thank you so much. Let me come back to Alain Philippe. Just to cue in with Ghislaine talking about the Ivorian situation where paternity leave is now 30 days. Alain Philippe, do you think as a Cameroonian you would want to advocate for a similar situation in Cameroon where fathers can equally be given a 30 days leave to help provide care for the baby and also assist around the house?
It's not the problem. We can advocate for it. Now, it depends about the importance of particularly the relationship, because the really base is the relationship inside the family between the woman and the man. And it is also the consciousness of the man to participate in this challenge at home. Because we can even act by giving that time, but if there is not consciousness, if there is no sensitization, if there is not responsibilizations among this challenge, nothing will change. So
Okay.
we need to insist there in order to see, so that men and women also see the stake of bringing this change and of sharing the responsibility inside the home and giving the necessary time for the woman also to work. Because we notice, for example, that the women who are more working, many women, when they have birth, they stop working. That is something very difficult for her, difficult for our community, difficult also for society that is facing these challenges. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Alain Philippe. I would like to stay back with Ghislaine. Let's talk about digitalization and remote work. Now, post-COVID, we have so many organizations that have gone remote, and workers can now work from home. They can work from any part of the world, and still they're expected to deliver. Now, with the career woman, with the African woman, with the sub-Saharan African woman, do you think this is something we should continue to advocate for? And how has this new model of remote working actually helped to balance or to relieve women of trying to go to job, the long hours of travel, and then still keeping an eye on their children? So how has this remoteness helped to reshape the sub-Saharan African woman's mindset of juggling between the two?
I think this has been a great opportunity for women, and women have really seized it across the continent, but also across the development sphere, where more and more women are working not just as consultants, but working from home. So they could be present for housekeepers, childcare, be flexible for visits to children, also reorganize their work around the day so they can remain effective, spend less time in traffic and office chit chat and whatnot. So it's been Very useful for the economy as well, with a growing number of work offices and cafes and other areas where people can work outside of the home or work and meet colleagues for quick time without having to pay for rent for an office that is not always used. However, I would say that this has been true mostly for international companies and not so much national companies, at least here in Cote d'Ivoire. Most national employers prefer to see their people, their staff, their team members in the office physically. So there is a missed opportunity here for engaging women in a way that works for women's work-life balance. The only way where I have seen women um, taken advantage or given the opportunity to work from home, to work digitally outside of the office, is around the time of maternity leave or shortly after maternity leave, when everyone in society understands that the child is below age 1 and is breastfeeding and needs to be close to her.
All right, so thank you so much, Ghislaine. It appears we've lost her. But I'd like to come back to Dr. Iwere to tell us what role should the government, the civil society, as well as the private sector play in order to encourage the African woman in carrying out their activities, both in the informal as well as in the formal sector? Dr. Iwere, please.
Thank you very much, Dr. Vera. No doubt, governments, civil society, and private sector, they have huge role to play if women must have this work balance. And for governments, I think the last speaker was talking about paternity leave. For governments, they should enact policies and legal framework that can encourage women, especially policies like the paid parental leave. Instead of having maternity leave, we have the parental leave. So for Cote d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast, rather, they already have that. But Nigeria, we don't have any, there's no statutory leave for fathers. So government should enact policies to have a paid parental leave. Apart from having parental leave, there should be some form of advocacy, because like Mr. Allen was saying, that there must be this cordial relationship. So there must be advocacy. Government, it's not enough for government to, enact mandates that paid leave, but there should be an advocacy to ensure that men really take up these care shared responsibilities whenever they are on such leave. And again, government can also enforce equal pay law. Yes, equal pay laws and anti-discrimination policy in workplaces. And most times we know they've actually been the bane of women in workplaces, especially in cases like that. So more of advocacy from the aspect of the civil service creates support network. And again, creates programs like this, like what we're having today. We're talking about issues like this. And when such discussions are ongoing, it shouldn't be a women affair discussions. It should be something that cuts across both sex. So what I meant by that is, in discussions like this, handled by civil societies, men should be introduced, men should be encouraged to take part in it. Like on the panel today, we have just a male. I don't know how many participants are male. We come here, we talk about these things that pertains to women, but men are not here to hear them. So things like that can happen. Then for the private sector, because most times the issue of work burden is mostly in the private setting, okay? In Nigeria, for instance, most private sectors, they the leave is 12 weeks as against 3 months, okay? 12 weeks. And again, for some organizations, they don't, it's not a full paid leave, it's 50%. So they still will, you're on leave, you're getting 50% of what you expected to get as pay. So such organizations should encourage mothers or women by enacting the full payments or full pay leave as against having 50% pay. So these are some of the ways that government, the civil societies, and private sector can actually encourage women. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. Government should enact policies that will to advocate for full payment of salaries, even when women go on maternity leave. So, Mr. Alain Philippe, as a frontliner on women issues, on education, how can men be engaged and encouraged to pick up some of this unpaid work and lighten the burden on the African woman? What are some of the ways you think men can actually be encouraged and help and engage and get engaged in picking up some of this unpaid care work?
Thank you. To encourage men, we need first to act at one level, sensitizations and educations. If we invest in sensitization and educations by educating at the primary school to children that they must consider more women, and we sensitize women with men, we encourage share activity, we encourage also dual responsibility. When they will grow, they will be able to be more responsible to share this dual responsibility. In the same vein, we need to remove all the stereotypes, because these stereotypes are hindering the society. And we need to show the challenges for our development, because in a country like Cameroon, where the majority of people are women, it's necessary to men to play the role of encouraging women to become autonomous, responsibilizing women. Because if we wish to get out of the poverty, men must play the role. They have to play this role. For example, we have the northern part of the country where many women are set out of the education system. They are set out of work. So we need to, government must push more investment, more pressure by bringing men to be responsible, by showing men the stake of that responsibility to engage in sharing this responsibility. And they did also to responsible women, because many men also think that when they will do it, they will be simplified by women, and the women will get out. So they must responsibilize also the women about to continue to consider the men that will be sharing the same responsibility with her.
All right. Thank you so much for that powerful recommendation. Ladies and gentlemen, we are still talking on addressing the challenges of women's career and care work in sub-Saharan Africa. And this webinar is being organized by the Carrefour Policy Institute of the Denis and Lenora Fauretia Foundation, a Cameroonian think tank that is based here in Yaoundé. So we are going to open the floor up for questions to our panelists. So we're opening it up, let our audience start sending in their questions. I can already see in the Q&A box, we have a question there. So please keep your questions coming, and our wonderful panelists, they are going to do justice to that. So I'll take this question from an anonymous attendee. He or she says, "Thank you so much to all for sharing your experiences with us. I wish to ask a question. Personally, I have lost a job opportunity because I am a woman. The excuse was that I am a woman. They already have many children in the organization. They already have many women in the organization, and they already deal a lot with maternity leaves and permissions. It got me really sad, but what would I do? What would be your advice to me?" So please, can our panelists advise this young lady who has had an opportunity, went in for a job interview, but was refused the job because she is a woman. And according to the organization, they're already overburdened with women and maternity leave issues. So what advice can we give to them? All right, Gisela, over to you.
Yes, I'll keep my camera off to help my internet connection, but I believe this is where we can push Dr. Alain Philippe's argument a little further, in that the government needs to go beyond advocacy, but actually have business incentives for workplaces to recognize that with the pay gap, they're already saving money on women's pay. And so they should be encouraged to hire more women, because the economy needs women in higher places so that decisions can be made for society as a whole, rather for mostly men. In terms of advice for this person, I would say continue applying. This is the world we live in today. Continue applying, you will find something.
All right, thank you so much. Do we have any other question from our audience, please? Okay, I don't see any other question. Okay, there is a question that just came in. All right, I wish to sincerely thank all the resource persons for their input. Can the states be encouraged to promote preschool investments? Thank you, Lillian, for this question. Who takes the lead? Can the states be encouraged to promote preschool investments?
Yes, I think I can take the lead for this question.
All right.
Hi, I just want to quick in. I earlier indicated that there's a lot of activities that the World Bank is carrying out with the Ministry of Basic Education on the community preschools. I think we have over 10,000, it's 1,000 community preschools throughout Cameroon. And the Ministry of Basic Education also has currently a program to also have preschools like pre-nursery, which they are trying to start piloting the implementation so that all the government schools are able to have pre-nursery schools. So I think that the issue of a preschool, especially given the fact that a child develops almost 90% from up to the age of 8. So there's been a lot of talk on the preschool. And so what we are currently encouraging is community daycares, which somehow also fit some pedagogic needs for a child developing at that age. So we look at having community preschools or community daycares in all the communities and in the workplaces too, so that the woman can not only have the child developing, but also have the child stay close to her. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. We hope that comes to pass. All right, I'll take this question from Adeline Nembert. How does allowing a husband to stay longer in brackets 30 days as proposed in the intervention at home after their wife's birth resolve the problem? What will constrain them to help do the household chores or help with the baby? So in other words, Dr. Nembot is not necessarily advocating for the paternity leave. How do we get the men to know that paternity leave is not for you to go drinking and relaxing and chatting with your friends? All right, just lay your hands up.
This is a funny question. All right. It sounds like it comes from experience or seriously based concerns. Research has shown that men's exposure to childcare in the home and participation in childcare soon after birth has increased those bonding hormones that women have in them and that make them baby cry no matter how far or how deep asleep they are. They and men too. And they're triggered based on proximity and continued exposure. So the idea is that with those 30 days of leave, men will have a shared experience with women in taking care of the child and the home, and that hopefully it will plant a seed and a new habit or functioning of the home that will continue beyond the maternity and
Okay, we are seriously hoping that the men will not take the 30 days to do other things, but concentrate in providing unpaid care for both mother and child. Okay, Dr. Where your hand is up, please. Over to you.
Yes, I think that's where the awareness creation comes in education. You see, when these men they go through this awareness, they will be, taught that when you get this paternity leave, is not time for you to,
This
go
meeting is
out
being recorded.
to party and have fun. It's time to really have this shared responsibility. And again, I will stand with Mr. Allen when he spoke about education. You see, this won't work if we don't incorporate this in our curriculum. The children, the male folks, male kids should be made to understand this from the word go. While in primary school, they know that, oh, this task is to be shared amongst the men and the women. So most of us parents should also incorporate this in their early age by doing what we call the task rotation. You see, the traditional norm has this expectation that women should do this, men should, be the breadwinners, and women should, take care of the house chores and all of that. It shouldn't be so. We should learn to rotate the tasks between our male kids and female children. So when we start that early enough and we incorporate, government brings in the policy of paternity leave, then we understand that you're getting this paternity leave not to stay off work, but to have, shared responsibility when it comes to caring for the child, and that will help. So, but it has to start from educating our young ones as well as
Yeah.
the men. Thank
And
you.
from my end, I seriously think we shouldn't just leave it in the hands of the government. As parents, we equally owe these children, especially the male child, that responsibility of inculcating in them the habits from childhood to know that there is no such thing as this is a man's work, this is a woman's work. Taking, for example, my own case, I have 3 boys. Would I now say these boys will grow up to be lazy men? No. So at this age, I need to start inculcating in them cooking habits, cleaning up, and taking care of their younger ones and people around them. That way, when they get to school, it is enhanced. And since at this level, children believe and take the words of their aunties and uncles in school to be gospel, when they join with our efforts, then we can be sure that in future, if our government should enact these policies of a 30 days maternity leave, the men are actually going to use it to cuddle with the younger ones to share in the unpaid work that they're actually going to do, that they're actually supposed to be doing during these 30 days, and not time for them to rather become more of a burden to the already burdened woman. Okay, I don't have any other question in the Q&A box, and it's about time we round up our discussion on addressing the challenges of women's career and care work in sub-Saharan Africa. So I just want to say a very big thank you to Alain Philippe, Gislain Odrego, Dr. Were Florence from Benin City, Nigeria, Dr. Kinga. We just want to say a very big thank you for accepting to share your knowledge with our wonderful audience, to give us your insight on how we can help the African woman, the sub-Saharan African woman, to be able to juggle between the unpaid work and their paid work. So the discussions do not necessarily come to an end. It is a call for us to try as much as possible in our own little corners to educate, especially the male folk, on the responsibility of picking up unpaid work in the house. There is no such thing as this is a woman's job, this is a man's job. All right, so we just want to say, let's try to put our hands together with civil society organizations, the government, as well as the private sector, to actually advocate for this unpaid work to be compensated somehow. When we hear men ask women, what do you bring to the table? It pains us, the women, because we know exactly how much we bring to the table if all our efforts were to be monetized. The fact that my body shape has changed because I'm taking care of a young baby, because I nursed the baby, because I went through pregnancy, that is what I'm bringing to the table. The fact that I spent sleepless nights taking care of you and your baby, that is, if we monetize it, then we're going to say women actually bring a lot more than even the men. So we shouldn't just depend on or join the ignorant people who go out there preaching that the woman brings nothing to the table. Whether it's a full-time stay-at-home mom, that work that they are doing, Dr. Kinga rightly put it in numerical figures, that is 35 hours. That if the woman was working, just give 1 hour to be 1,000 francs, and woman puts in 35 hours. That's enough money for her to take care of themselves. So I think as advocates, as researchers, as civil society practitioners and think tankers, it is just a clarion call for us to advocate and continue to propose policies that can help women navigate these challenges and improve on their career. So on behalf of the Careful Policy Institute at the Dennis and Lenora Floritier Foundation, we just want to say thank you, and please continue to visit our website because we have wonderful programs and other webinars that we do organize on different and diverse themes that may be of interest to you. So I'll hand over now to Ariel for some concluding remarks. Ariel, over to you, please. Thank you.
So much, Dr. Vera. Thank you to all the panelists. I really, really enjoyed the conversation. Thank you. And I hope that the recommendations that have been given will be implemented very soon, especially that one that we have to bring children with us. So thank you very much. Without much ado, we'll just close the webinar. It was a great one. Thank you to all the panelists. Thank you to all the participants, and we hope to see you next time at our next webinar. So God bless you all. Bye.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.